about going back to work or keeping your job after having your kids? On Moms Matter today, we have Mary Beth Ferrante, a career coach who's going to give us tips on how to break down the maternal wall and how to get back in the workforce. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for letting me be here, Sharon. I'm excited to talk to you.
I mean, you are just a vast array of knowledge, and what you're doing, you're talking not just to moms on how to get back, but you're also talking to the employers on giving them the space they need and to break down the maternal wall. Tell us about the maternal wall. I love that.
Exactly. So, we always talk in here about the glass ceiling, but I think it's so important to recognize that before we even get to the glass ceiling and have to fight that good fight, we've got to leap over that maternal wall first. And so ultimately what happens is when a woman has a baby, there is what's called the motherhood penalty. And so oftentimes with the birth of a child and subsequent children, you find yourself getting pushed further and further away from your career goals. That means less money, less opportunity, less promotions. Mothers are 50% less likely to be promoted in the workforce. And so there's so much kind of what we now know as a term of microaggressions that happen over and over and over again in this unconscious bias towards motherhood that we end up just really burning out. And it's insane to think that if you just spend 5 years out of the workforce, it's about $600,000 in lost potential income.
That's insane.
It's a huge number. You're looking at your salary, your potential to grow, your benefits, and 401k packages, things like that really add up. And so it's so important to think about, when you're running the numbers, which we all go through that. Can we make it work? Can I stay home? And it's not just about your salary against daycare or, hiring a nanny or building that village that you need to enable you to work.
Absolutely.
But it's all about future potential and earnings and where you can go in your career growth. And so I think it's really important that we recognize what's actually happening and that the pay gap and the leadership gap, yes, it's a challenge for all women, but it really starts to differentiate us when we start to have babies. And what's really even more crazy is that fathers tend to actually get a bump in salary when they have a child. And so they start to grow their careers.
That is just unbelievable.
Yeah. And so
what's your advice to moms who, so many of us will have a baby and just need a little bit of time and want to get right back in there.
Exactly.
And we're fearful. We're fearful that, we're going to have to leave to pick up our kids from daycare or from school or whatever. And how do you even start the conversation with your,
And that's the thing. It's just about starting to open up those lines of communication, right? I think that's one of the more challenging things. We've been taught, many of us, as we've grown up, to work hard, put our heads down, just, show them great product and we'll be promoted. And there's we lose that ability to advocate for ourselves, to speak up. And so that's what we're really trying to help women do and help new moms do is figure out what do they need? Because everyone's story is a little bit different, right? You go through the traumatic experience of having a child, right? It's not minor. And so, not only do you need to heal your body, but you also need to think about, what do I want in my future? And I think we're so conditioned to hear that, your brain's going to change, your priorities are going to change. And yeah, of course, your kids become so number one.
Of course.
But that doesn't mean that your career goals just vanish,
no, of course not. Absolutely.
And that you suddenly are less smart or intelligent or, less creative. And so I think it's really important for us to stand back a little bit, think about what would work. How can I navigate this first couple years when my children are really young and, understand what it is that I need to feel supported, whether that's building your village, because we all know we need that village of support.
It takes a village, absolutely.
Yeah, you're going to need help, whether it's daycare, nanny, family that's helping you.
Right.
If you want to continue a career, you do have to start to build that. So that's where we really start. It's like, what are the things that you need in terms of support? And then looking at your employer, what are the opportunities that you have to ask for flexibility, to negotiate some remote work, or to, maybe take a hiatus from traveling for a little bit, but it doesn't have to be permanent. And I think that's what happens is we ultimately think that these changes have to be permanent, and often they only are a few months, right? After you come back from leave, and hopefully your employer is giving you some sort of leave. It's a whole other issue that we could talk about too. But if you are getting leave, knowing that even when you do come back, it's going to be a transition in figuring out how to be a working parent after your first child and after subsequent children, because it only gets a little bit more challenging. I
Just
mean,
a
you
little
have 4,
Just a
you
little
know exactly how
Right.
it goes.
Right.
And so I think being able to understand what it is that you want, how to ask for it, how to facilitate those conversations, and to recognize that it's not permanent. It only needs to be a
That's huge.
temporary.
And that's where you come in as a
Exactly.
career coach, and you really help navigate all of that for moms and empower them and help
Mhm.
them. And I love what you're doing. I think
Thank
it's
you.
so important.
Yes, I know. It's amazing, and we're working with individuals and with employers. So we're coming at it from both angles to help facilitate those conversations, to help people recognize what the maternal wall is, that there is this unconscious bias that's hitting women, and it's not it's not misintentioned or negative. Most people are very well-meaning. They think, oh, you're a new mom. I don't want to, ask you to do more. I don't want to, invite you to this networking event because I know you have to go home and be with your kids. But it's really recognizing that, every mom should have a choice.
Absolutely.
And you need to ask her. And also looking at how you can navigate if you have a partner at home, figuring out that second shift, right? How do you balance working late evenings, and is there an opportunity for you guys to switch off so that you both can be the ones that stay late a couple nights or go to that networking event or, prioritize your career.
Right.
It doesn't have to be every night.
No. So there's a way to make it happen, and there's a way to make everyone happy.
Exactly.
And make it all flow.
And make it all flow.
Love
exactly.
it. Thank you so much
You're
again for joining
welcome.
us on the show.
Yes, of
Look
course.
forward to
Happy
having
to
you
be
again
here.
next time.
Thank you.
You saw it right here on Moms Matter, how to break down the maternal wall and get back to work and to advocate for yourself, moms. Get out there and advocate for yourselves. We'll see you next time on Moms Matter.